Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Subs Bench podcast. Got the full crew in today. Dusty, TC.
Hello.
Myself.
Hi.
And we've got a guest as usual. And today's guest is Tim Brown. Good to have you in.
Good morning, and great to be here down at the new Rochedale facility.
Yeah, well, let's touch upon that. It is a fantastic facility. When you walk up the steps outside, and then obviously you walk up and see the field, it's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive.
It's a good place to be.
Bodes well for the future. Hopefully next
You'd
year.
hope so.
Kick
It's
on
been
with
a,
that.
been a tough 12 months for the club not having a facility. Like everyone's been sort of playing out of no change rooms, cricket sheds. Volunteers have been going above and beyond for everyone here. So it's great to have a home now.
Yeah, weird one coming into a club and there was no dressing rooms, no clubhouse and stuff like that. Like, take that stuff for granted, I suppose. But
Yeah.
Because I think on the last episode we had, which probably is about a month, 5-6 weeks ago maybe, and you actually said it's been tough because you almost need that base. Where the banter takes place, it's in that room when the coach is not in there and the players can just rip the piss out of each other. And if you haven't really got that,
It's a weird one because, like, you're rocking up to... You got a lot of new players at the start of the year. You had a new coach and you don't have that sort of camaraderie. Yeah, like, everyone just rocks up to train off their boots, sits down, and then after training, everyone just goes. There's no, like, having a laugh in the sheds, having a shower, whatnot. But we got that now, so...
onwards and upwards for the Rovers.
Can't Rovers.
fingers crossed. I mean, look, we'll touch upon, I suppose, success that Rochedale Rovers have had down the years.
Case in point.
Yeah, case in
Mr.
point.
Brown.
Plenty of it.
They're a club that they should be in the top flight. Do you know what I mean? They're a proper football club. You know, you go, and I don't want to run some clubs down, but you go to some places and it's almost they're not football clubs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the facilities with a football pitch in front of it.
Yeah.
Not giving anything away there, but this feels like a football club every time you come here. It's,
I think that's probably a big thing for a lot of the players that we have is I think they see it the same way. Like, it's a club that should be at the top. Yeah. As you know, as high as they can be, and that's sort of part of the reason why everyone's here, because we want to see them get back there. So
yeah,
we want to see us get back there.
Yeah, I want to see you get back there.
Yeah.
Used to in particular.
Thanks, Benny.
I think you deserve it.
Thanks, Benny.
We finally have that subs bench. We were meant to play in the Cup, weren't we?
Yeah, the subs bench derby. We
Never
had
happened.
in the FFA, whatever it was.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
For the round of
2022 in
32.
NPL.
Yeah, be nice.
Would be.
Local stuff then. Start at the top. NPL, 3-way fight. You would say. Well,
It looks that
you
way.
have to now, I suppose.
Olympic probably favourites.
Yeah, say that. Look, there's only, as we record, 3 games left. 2 games. We got 2. I think they've got 3. Lions have got 2. So anything can still happen, depending on what happens. Because Lions have actually got Olympic and ourselves.
Yeah.
So anything can happen yet. We're just doing the old cliche 1 game at a time thing. I'm sure the others are doing that as well.
Yeah, it's funny, like with Lions, because you can say they've got 2 of the other top 3 to come, but usually they get up for those games more than
Set up for Lions, isn't it?
a lot of clubs. Yeah. So I mean, I wish you well, Benny, but
Yeah. After I've just said what Mike thinks about you.
I think
look, it's been a fantastic last probably 6 weeks and I always said, I mean, like, you've been involved in lots of title races, Brownie. I always said title race becomes a title race with 6 games to go, 6 or 7. Like, when you're 12 games out and they've dropped points, like, you're just jostling.
Doesn't matter that much
for that last month.
I think that's
when the big.
I think that's when you're looking at who they're playing, who the opposition are playing, and it gets pretty real. So, and your players, obviously, you don't need to motivate them for those games. Obviously, your last 3 games, you don't need to motivate them at all, do you, really?
And that was probably the point I was getting at, is that you can't really write anyone off in that top 3. So it's good. It's good to watch.
Thing as well. What I've noticed in our last 3 or 4, nerves play a big part, and sometimes when you're not used to it, like, anxiety just kicks in. And certain players it affects more than others. Like some lads, and getting real deep into it, sometimes the smarter you are, the more you worry about things because you overanalyze and
think
things
more
like
about
that.
it.
Whereas you got some lads who, maybe it's not the sharpest tools, like they're just confident all the time. They don't care. So, I can say that.
I think it's about keeping the players relaxed. That's the main thing. So when they go on the pitch, they're the same as they were in a pre-season game, more or less. And luckily, just going back a little bit, we had Matt Mundy that really just didn't care about anything at any particular time. Didn't know the opposition, so tended to keep it pretty calm. So
I think it's
you need a few of those characters in your team, don't you?
Yeah.
Just the take it as it comes sort of thing.
Yeah, big couple of weeks coming up. So
well, good luck, Benny. You deserve it.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers, lads. QPL. Something you're obviously involved in.
Can confirm Rochedale are not in the title race. But Logan and Thunder. Probably Logan in the pole
massively
position.
in the box seat.
I think they've got 2 or 3 games in hand on Toowoomba, and they're definitely the most consistent squad this year, and probably deserve it the most. They play, they grind out those games. They win the games they should win, and they also, they get up for the big games, the derby games and the other top sides. So, I think
Toowoomba's probably a fairly young side, and for them it may be next year or the year after, because unlikely to leave and go somewhere else. So
I think
maybe not this year, next year for them.
I think, speaking to a few people that have been around Toowoomba, is this squad that they've got now, they had sort of come through the 18s, 20s. Into the year that they got relegated, where they probably weren't quite ready, with a lot of local lads, and they've got their imports are quality. So they'll be there or thereabouts definitely next year.
I didn't think they were that bad. When they went down,
they weren't that bad.
No. We played them at their place with about 6 games to go. I think we win 3 or 4. We won late anyway. But honestly, for 75 minutes, you just thought, how are these second bottom? But obviously, young players,
they're
not like that every week.
No, they're not.
It'll be the same next year for whoever comes down, because obviously they were in a position where even though they came down, they had to battle hard every week to get a result. So coming down to the QPL with that sort of mindset, it's obviously fared them well. So it'll be the same.
The NPL, just going back, there's a relegation battle on as well. You got Brisbane City, Redlands, and there's probably 1 or 2 others could slip.
Capalaba are just above
Capalaba,
that.
Sunny Coast.
There or thereabouts.
I think you would East won yesterday.
East won't get relegated, but there's 1 or 2 points between.
It's Redlands or City.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it is. The other 2, there'd be some bizarre results for anyone else to go down now.
Redlands had played all their games, haven't they, so far? Whereas the others,
except for last night, I think
they'll have a midweek game.
Hand.
Probably when this has already gone out. But they got 3 games, and they probably just need to win 1, draw 1 at least.
But they might be in a similar situation to Toowoomba. I mean, they've had a big sort of turnover at Redlands as well, with a lot of young boys and a new coach coming in. So maybe, it'll be good for them as well. Potentially, if that does happen, it doesn't sound good, but might be a good chance for them to regroup and.
Disaster if City went down.
For everyone.
For City.
Yeah, would be.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Happens.
Yeah. Does happen. Big clubs have gone down before.
That's it.
So, we'll obviously keep an eye on that one. We'll not even talk about the BPL, Cap 1, Cap 2.
No one even knows what's going on.
I don't even know. That's why we're not going to talk about it. I know that teams have finished top. And then they're fighting it out amongst themselves.
Splits in the top 6, bottom 6 or something, doesn't it?
Yeah. We'll have a more thorough look at that come the end of the season when we know what's going on. So, you wanted to bring something else to the table?
Bit of sad news through the week. Maxie Haynes, legend over at Capalaba, passed away. So, just wanted to say, everyone at Capalaba and Maxie's family are in our thoughts. So, rest easy, big fella.
Yeah.
And as a volunteer, obviously I was there just the 1 season. He mowed the pitch. He did everything as a total 100% volunteer over I don't know how many years, a very, very long time. So probably a nicer guy you could ever meet.
Yeah, he's top guy. He was there sort of when I sort of turned up at Capalaba. We had a rough season. He was always there, regardless of what had gone on, and always there for a chat. And always there to help. So he'll be missed.
Yeah. Let's move on to the reason you're here. We'll talk about the life and times. Came across here young.
I came over to Australia when I was 10. Came to South Australia. Little thing about South Australia is you've got to remember that there is no rugby league, there is no rugby union. It's just football, or in their case AFL. So AFL is the big game over there, but there is a very strong local league that is 5 Italian clubs, 3 Greek clubs, Croatian, Polish, Serbian. So very big ethnic base. So people in the street they don't wear surfing gear because there's no waves and it's freezing cold. So they wear AC Milan and I'm sure Messi nowadays. So very big, strong local league. So I played in the local league there as a junior, came through the junior, played the state side as well, and then ended up playing for a club, 17, 18 in the local league, and got picked up by Adelaide Hellas, which was back in the old NSL. So 6 years in the NSL. Again, Greek club. Something you probably don't get here in Australia or in Queensland is if you lose 3 games, your coach is going to get the sack.
Yeah.
If you're not winning at half time, they're going to boo you off. They're going to throw things at you. So, the passion that the ethnic clubs bring to the game was great. Adelaide United, now you go and watch them now, to be honest, it's like a morgue. It's the A-League, it's the way the A-League is. But playing a little bit of, I suppose, local football.
Yeah.
In South Australia, enjoyed it greatly. They get a little bit different there, is that their crowds probably are a little bit better than or bigger than here. So the big games you're getting 5,000, 3,000, so again it's the ethnic base, which the A-League has sort of filtered out, to be honest.
Do we miss that? I mean, I came here probably after it had gone. Is that, I know that people say it's a good thing, some people say it's a bad thing. Someone who experienced both, is it a miss?
Well, let's say Adelaide City, West Adelaide in the day, and obviously Brisbane City, maybe Lions up here, you're getting 8,000, 10,000. We score and the crowd run on the pitch and carry the goal scorer back to the halfway line. Or if the referee made a bad decision, the bad side of it, they'd run on the pitch and have a go at the referee. Yeah. So, they were fanatical supporters towards the club, and in that case, the player turnover and the coaching turnover was quite high. We had something like 7 coaches in six years because, like I say, if you lost, you're shown the door pretty much. So times have changed, a little bit more stable, and I was just going to mention a little bit about coaching. I was thinking on the way in here, you think the coaching that you got back in the 70s and 80s, pretty much they picked you to play midfield, you just played midfield.
Yeah.
They didn't coach you to do this or to make runs or anything. So I think the kids today are getting certainly coaching wise way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds mad, that, doesn't it? Like 5,000 people there.
Yeah. Well, the crowd and the atmosphere, that's massive. I mean,
I think that's a loss.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Massive
probably one of the best games I'd been to recently was the NPL final last year, Olympic versus Knights, where it was packed.
Yeah.
You had Knights this end, Olympic this end.
And still an element of the Greek and Croatian communities.
It was brilliant.
Coming together.
Yeah. Oh, I think, at Olympic 2014, I don't know if you went to the game where we played Melbourne Knights.
Yeah.
You could not get any more people in there. It was a little bit like some of the bigger games in South Australia. It was packed. 3,000 people maybe. I don't know how many they fit in there. Plus the grand final, 2013, Brisbane City. You couldn't. They had to put extra stands in at the back.
Yeah.
So, those crowds, obviously we just need to attract more people to the games, to be honest. The weather's great, Same there, it could be 4 degrees. And they played in South Australia. They played during the day. You look at certainly Ruben Way in Melbourne, Heidelberg. They're getting 3,000, 4,000 at their games. So we're a smaller population.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, here today to give a little plug to one of the Subs Bench loyal sponsors, Mr. Mark Cruz from Bank of Queensland, Windsor. Now, Mark is one of the best in the business, and I know this from personal experience as myself, Dusty and Ryan Stenthouse bank our One Short company with Mark. One Short is one of the best clothing labels in the world, and Mark is a big part of that. Mark has a lot of upside. One, he's incredibly good looking. And yes, ladies, he is single. And two, he is very professional and very, very good at what he does. So if you, A, want a hot date with Mark, or B, want some great banking advice, please slide into his DMs and get in contact with one of the best bankers in Brisbane today. Cheers.
Yeah,
we definitely miss that sort of atmosphere at Queensland games. I think maybe when I first sort of moved to Brisbane, the crowds might have been a little bit bigger. Yeah. But it's definitely, you don't get much now.
Yeah. I think the FFA Cup's that's been so good because
I love it, mate.
That's the best thing they've done for.
Yeah, even though I was Rochedale, played the Strikers here a few years ago. Yeah. Crowd was great. Obviously the Strikers had some fairly good runs with good crowds. It's just fantastic, really.
Yeah.
Can't wait for it to come back next year.
Yeah, that'll be good. There's talk that they might actually change the format slightly.
Okay.
They're on about like group stages and stuff like that at the early rounds.
Make it a bit more.
I think what they're trying to do is probably make sure that the top teams get through. Right. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Which probably takes away a little bit of the romance of it, if that is the case.
Keep it how it is. If it's not broke, don't fix today.
It's definitely not broke.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, if so far no club from outside the A-League's won it, so until that day happens, I don't.
Yeah.
But that's what everyone's waiting for, I think. How good would that be?
Oh, I tell you, yeah. I don't know. I hope it comes. I'd love to see an NPL club win it. That's for sure.
To be honest, it should never happen.
It should never. I was going to say. I was going to say that because I didn't want to be like.
Yeah.
That's why everyone talks about comparing it to the English FA Cup and whatnot. But
they're still
you play a fourth tier team in England. They're still professional, full-time players.
You shouldn't have amateurs at a. See, like if you use an example from last year when Strikers beat Wellington.
Yeah.
We had to come over to Brisbane midweek, Well, hang on a minute, mate. You're a full-time pro. Like, these guys are going to work and you've just been dusted. They played, 120 minutes, done them on pens? Please.
I remember one year here, Gold Coast United came into the league and they had Kalina, all of those players that Clive Palmer brought along. Yeah. And he'd just come out and said that they're never going to lose a game for the season. So we play them in a friendly, a good crowd as well. And Anthony Schiavo scores and we're 1-0 up and there's like 5 to go and they're really starting to get testy, their players, they're starting to kick people. Yeah. They're calling our players bricklayers and carpenters and whatever else.
We are. So
they ended up scoring and it was 1-1. But, the A-League... And again, at Olympic, when we were Olympic, we went and played Melbourne Knights, played them at Olympic, great, fantastic day. But then we went to the great ANZ Stadium, where 50,000-seater stadium, and there was like 2,000 people there. Pitch was pristine. It's really, helped the A-League. If we played at our ground, smaller pitch, not used to it, that's more of the romance, but the lighting is an issue, obviously.
Yeah. Is the lighting to do with the Fox, or is it to do with...
I think I always thought it was the TV coverage.
TV coverage.
It's got to be a certain
because,
look.
It takes as you said, the romance out of like a smaller club pulling an A-League side and inviting them to like their home ground and
Here, for example, if you had an A-League side come here, you get 3,000-4,000 people in. Pitch is fine. I think the lighting's not quite up to scratch at this stage, but it would be a great day, and I'm sure next year you'd be looking forward to it. Hopefully.
It annoys you a bit seeing when a lower league club draws an A-League or someone like that and have to shift their game to Perry Park. Or
at least Perry Park's sort of still got that little bit. Like Perry Park, you'd much rather go play at Perry Park than ANZ, wouldn't you?
Yeah, big time.
Because it is as much as Strikers have sort of taken it as it is the home of Queensland football, like back in the day. So
I think now you'd like to go to Redcliffe, to be honest.
We were lucky enough when we got Melbourne City. We went and played.
Yeah, that was a great.
That was superb. That's now because we went there when there was only the one stand done. Yeah. Now they've got the other 2 done. It's 12,000.
That day we went out.
Last year for the Raw.
Yeah,
that was Melbourne City as well.
Yeah, but that was the best atmosphere I've experienced at a Raw game, like for a league game for
I reckon
years.
Since year 1 of the A-League first game.
And they're all going to be there next year.
Are they?
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's massive.
Would you, going back to the Power game, do you reckon would have been a different game if you played at AJ Kelly in any way? Or
possibly,
on your own field?
We still had over 4,000 there, and the vast majority of them were from Redcliffe, wanting us to win. So it still felt like everything was
still your home
on our
Yeah.
We trained there the night before. Like,
to be fair, you gave them a fair run, didn't you? It was like 2 late
conceded
goals.
in injury time in
both
each half.
halves. Yeah, see.
Like, if we gone in 0-0, different
Anything
thing
to
talk,
let it
innit?
go, mate.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it was. If we're probably fortunate that the Dolphins, it's only 2 minutes from where we played.
Was that the QPL year? Or was
Yeah,
that-
it would have been.
Yeah.
I think the other
No, it
thing...
wasn't. It was BPL.
BPL.
The other thing that sort of comes out across Australia is that the standard in the local leagues, whether it's Brisbane, Adelaide, Sydney, has been quite similar.
Yeah.
So whether the Victorian sides may be a little bit stronger, but New South Wales, Queensland have played them, they've done well. South Australia, they've done well. Everyone thinks their league's the best. Even the sides from WA, Freyet Athena, played in the FFA. All of those games, or if you make the NPL the end season, we played Sydney United, obviously when we were Olympic, and there really wasn't that much difference.
No.
Maybe their wage bills might be a little bit different, but the standard was fairly similar.
Yeah.
I think the best thing about, if you had to look at a positive for this COVID season, it's the kids that have gone down to Melbourne coming back.
Yeah.
And adding that little bit of extra quality, I guess, to the league and really strengthening the league. And
Yeah,
I think
not
it
just
shows
the top
you.
teams either. The kind of strength and all the way
But you look
through.
at the NPL this year, and it's probably the best. Would you, like, you're in the NPL? Is it standard-wise the best it's been, like, competitive week in, week out, or
In the 2 years that
2
we've
years
been
that
in,
you've been in there?
It's much stronger this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is stronger.
But again, the money's not here, is it? Like, some of those guys are getting what they're down there is just
Yeah.
be an amateur footballer and work full time, and you on what you'd be in the A League.
Yeah.
So
I think the initial years of the NPL, sides like Rockhampton were quite poor.
yeah,
So
we know.
Yeah, we
mate.
were.
you go there and I think we went there and we won 9-2 or something
Yeah,
like
you're
that.
thinking about the night out afterwards,
Yeah.
aren't you? Like,
You know you've won.
You know you've
You
won
know
before you
you've won.
got on the
But
plane.
I think a lot of people that weren't in that league back then didn't realise how good some of the players were.
Yeah.
Certainly, Townsville had a guy, Gareth Eds, and look,
Yeah.
when Jake McLean comes over and goes, mate, he is just way too good for me. They beat us 6-3 up there.
Yeah.
Brandon Cumaneo got sent off, and Matt Lugo came in as a 17-year-old, something like that. So plus Cairns had Alex Smith and their side. They beat us up there as well. So there was some good sides up north, but it was those couple of just those weak links.
yeah,
that sort
Bundy,
yeah,
Rocky.
Bundy,
Mackay
Rocky,
came good,
Yeah.
but for a long part.
they were battling. So that's where the depth. I think the depth of the league now is, and I don't go and watch that many games, but the depth of the league looks pretty good, to be honest.
There's not a gimme.
No.
There's no games where you go to and you think, we'll
Sunny
win
Coast.
this.
Yeah.
Every single game you go and you have to do your due diligence. You kind of do your video sessions on them. You've got to see where the weaknesses are.
But that's how it should be, right?
Yeah, and in the past it wasn't like that.
Obviously my interest with Capalaba, because I was there for a little while, going there is just not an easy task. It's a difficult place to play. It's quite a small pitch.
Yeah.
It's not the flattest, to be honest, all the time. So, you couldn't go there.
It can be a bit boggy too in the fog if you go at the right time of year.
Yeah, and that definitely helped getting us promoted last year. Because we knew that and we used that and
That's what
we
you want.
embraced
You want
it.
your home ground advantage to be an advantage.
We,
you know what I mean?
we didn't get promoted by playing really good football. It was bully teams, get on top of them, win the game.
The difference, of course, when you go to Redlands, everyone looks forward to go
that was
to Redlands.
To be fair, that was Redlands' problem a couple of years ago. Everyone loved going to Redlands. Friday night pitch was unreal, and they were struggling a little bit, and they just got caned every game.
Yeah.
But
That pitch not as good anymore.
nah, I think that's
Dropped
probably
off a bit.
It's not as good. It's still
Yeah,
probably better than
It's
quite
better
a
than
few,
most
but
sport. It's not immaculate like it used to be. All right, well, we'll pick up. So you moved up to Queensland.
I moved up to Queensland for business reasons. Started playing up here with Brisbane Croatia, who were at that stage a Forex League side. So we had put together a side. Peter Bannon was the coach. So we'd put together a side with 4, 5, 6 ex-NSL players. So we were a good side. First year, I think we made the top 4. The second year, we played North Star to win the league. And then obviously Miron came in at North Star. So they then Brisbane Croatia decided that they would basically play Croatian players, so most of the non-Croatian players ended up leaving, and I then decided to give it away. Then got back in playing for Acacia Ridge, and then ended up getting into coaching. I was there for 2 or 3 years, and people think, and I know a lot of coaches, they think when they finish playing immediately you're going to be a good coach. It doesn't quite happen like that. It does take quite a lot of years. So I was there for 3 years, and Coops, Peter Bannon, gave me a call and said, look, would you come and coach the youth team at Rochedale? At this stage, I wanted to push on as a coach and hopefully be a full-time coach. Didn't work for me in that respect. So when I came here, I was the youth coach for 4 years, and then Coops came to me and said, look, I'd like you to give me a hand with the first team. And we were together for 13 years, and of course with Kenny Armstrong we had a very, very enjoyable time, good players, and a great coaching setup. Through that time as well, I was coaching BSD, which is now folded, rep sides. 1 year I was coaching BSD, Queensland under-16s, the youth side here, and helping Coops with the first team. My wife suggested that I take another job, so I never had to come home. So, pretty busy times, and then gave up the youth, and then worked with Kieran in the first team. That first year we were bottom, and we managed to stay up last game of the year, I think, in Toowoomba. I used to play at that old Gold Park, if you go back that far. From then, obviously, the Rochedale moved upwards, strengthened. A little bit of luck along the way as well in signing players, which is a key as well.
Yeah, you got to get the right signings, and some of them come off and some of them don't.
Yeah, at that period, Palm Beach, pretty much their side fell to pieces. So we ended up picking up 4 or 5 players from Palm Beach. Then Lions went into the A-League, so we were able to pick up maybe 2 or 3 from there. And I suppose the beauty with Rochedale was at that stage we had very strong 16s, 18s, reserves, 20s. So a lot of players, Carl Tabulo, Darren Gray, Mario Aparicio, all came through our youth setup. And we were, I suppose, that successful. There were players that came here that had not won here. So they'd played 16s, 18s, and 20s first team and never won. I think one year our reserve or period our reserves team hadn't lost at home for 3 years. So look, we had a little bit of a run through of players backing up, and who we managed to keep, who decided not to go. They decided to stay and fight for their position in the reserves. Carl Tabulo was in the reserves, Andrew Butler, players you may not remember, John Thompson, all stuck around in the reserves. And look, people might say we were paying good money. We weren't,
just standard.
They wanted to stay, and that the group became the reason why they stayed.
Yeah.
So, and then, you just add those, as you know, with sides you're coaching at the moment, Ben, you just add that 1 or 2, which was, in that case, Tim Smits, and maybe Terry Hughes. Kieran and I were fortunate is that we became Premier League select coaches and went away. We played Rocky, Townsville, Cairns, blah, blah. We brought the players into that squad that we wanted to sign.
Yeah.
Funny that.
Smart, isn't it?
So we picked up Smithy and Terry Hughes from that particular tournament.
Couple of handy pickups.
Yeah, not bad.
A couple of handy pickups, yeah. So, good times. I think we won the league the first year. We was 2007, 2006. We lost to the Strikers in the grand final. 2007 was the first year we won the league, and I think it's still on YouTube. The game was 5-4 against the Strikers. Yeah. At Lions. So, and it was sort of the start of the Tabulo, Smits, Lovell, Hughes sort of partnership together. Darren Gray, obviously Matt Mundy. Look, and it was good times, really.
Yeah, it was a scary prospect playing against that team.
Wanting to buy business assets or motor vehicles? Do you need experienced business advice in tough times and you're not sure who to trust or talk to? Terry Kirkham, with over 30 years of experience, and his firm Global Business Auctioneers and Valuers with its range of services can help you. Global provides consulting advice on business exit strategies, risk positioning, restructuring and more, business and business asset valuations, and business asset sales through their online auction platform or tender sales. Check Global out at www.globalauctioneers.com and www.globalvaluers.com, or call Terry directly on 1300 557 112 for a chat.
Yeah,
That whole way through. Like,
I suppose one of the things is, players that could play, but, players that could certainly graft as well. There's a few there that could kick a few people, Terry Hughes being one of them, Darren Gray being another, John Thompson. So we could mix it if it had to be mixed. Away on a poor pitch, if you're on a big pitch, obviously Tabs used to sit so wide, so high, didn't defend, didn't run. You just used to get the ball to him. But, and then obviously through that period, then Wynnum came onto the scene, obviously so strong. So it was initially Lions were the side, and then it was Peninsula and Wynnum were the two other sides in the competition. And obviously Sam Safe built a fairly strong side with his imports.
I remember because the first year I came here, I played BPL for North Star, and we played Rochedale, and everyone was talking in the dressing room, like the young Australians were talking about this Tim Smits, and I'm like, fucking steady on, man. And then within 2 minutes, he's gone past 4 or 5. This is at Old Callaghan Park. Gone past 4 or 5 and slot one in the bottom corner. You're just thinking,
class.
What have I just seen there? Yeah, different class.
And look around the league now. Tim Smits, you could bang it into him and he could hold it up. Strong, very strong in the air. Probably there's not that many players like that around this day and age.
But willing to cop a foul as well. And
absolutely.
Just get his team up.
He never lost the ball in the air, did he? Very rarely.
The thing is with him, even 2-3 years ago when he was playing at Grange, we played away at Grange, and when the ball's getting clipped up to him, he's not just flicking on for the sake of flicking on. He's flicking on because he knows there's the runner there, It was all calculated, what he did. Yeah, he was superb.
And look, a lovely guy as well. So continued here through 2007. We won the league 2007, 2008. 2009, we played off last game of the season against Peninsula. We had to draw. They had to win. They ended up winning 2-1. Obviously, Terry Kirkham's probably tells the story about that day.
Probably.
Big day for Peninsula Power, obviously. We had a very, very good crowd here that day. I think Peninsula brought 2, 3, 4, 5 buses down.
Yeah, they would have.
There was people with dyed blue and purple hair. And
Power.
There was a lady there, I can't remember her name.
That's her. We just call her Marge.
You don't see her, you hear her.
Yeah, so, obviously a good day for the club that day. But, and then, look, the year after that, I decided to go to Capalaba. Capalaba had just played off in the grand final with Graham Ross as their coach, and I thought that I could go there and attract a few Rochedale players, which I did. Rochedale mainly reserve players they were at that stage, not getting a run, who could do the job for me. Went there and look, Greg Thomas was there, the Sherwoods were there. We had a fairly good side. Scott Sargent, 2010. So we were lucky enough we were able to win the Canale Cup that year, which was probably a little bit more prestigious than it is maybe today. It would have been the 32 for the FFA Cup today. So we beat Rochedale, I think 2-1 at Perry Park. I think it's still the only trophy that Capalaba have won in the top grade. Difficulty there was we had a very small budget. So trying to get players to come to Capalaba on a budget is probably half certainly most of the bigger clubs. Good again, some good young players that weren't quite getting a game, and that's the way you can build your side if you're
hungry
looking.
lads who want to prove themselves.
Anthony Schiavo.
The Rochedale Rezzies at that stage were a lot of them were probably first team quality, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
They would beat the lower half of the BPL. Most of those.
Yeah, well, they used to have the cup down at Beanley, the Tony Jessup Cup, which was for some sides plus our reserve side went in it. I think they won it 2 years in a row and beat a lot of Premier League sides.
You had Ruben Way was in that reserve.
With Ruben Way, obviously Darren Gray, Keenan Dumfries played for a long time. Anthony Schiavo, a boy that was I took to Capalaba, Moses Patello, probably one of the quickest guys you'll ever come across. Obviously Scotty Sargent came through. So look, if you don't get a chance at Rochedale, what do? You stay and fight or you leave. Those players decided to go to Capalaba. And then obviously with the, I know we had a meeting here one time with all of the players because everyone was getting asked to go and play for Olympic, etc., etc. So we sat up here and we said, what are you going to do? And Terry Hughes gets up and says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay. And he gets up and he walks out. And everyone else looked at each other and I said to Coops, yep, that's good. So the players, and at this stage the club was having financial difficulties and everyone was playing for $125 a week.
Yeah.
None of them left. So I think that's a credit to Kieran and the players to stay on when they could have gone anywhere, to be honest. Willie Tumasimi still, it was a good club ethic, I suppose, and player ethic, which, we're all after.
And was Terry Hughes key when he said that and he walked out?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, if it's good enough for him.
It's good enough for him.
Yeah. And I think, as you know, if you can get a couple of those very strong players, that are advocates for what you're doing, at training as well, if someone comes in and they're mucking around, you sign a guy that's not doing the work, generally they got onto him.
Yeah.
So the coach didn't have to do that. This guy, and obviously Holland Park, he had, players of that ilk there, and East had some players at that ilk. So it just made your job a little bit easier.
Yeah. I'd listened to this podcast the other day, Rio Ferdinand was on, and he was talking about when he was at Manchester United and when new players came in, he said the core guys that had been there for years, they'd pick within 2 or 3 weeks whether it was going to work out for a certain player or not.
Yeah.
And they had that sort of FIFO, like fit in or fuck off.
Yeah.
If you don't do it the way we do it, it's not going to work for you. He says you would get up them in the first few weeks, and if they didn't respond the right way, he says you knew they'd be gone either the first year or the second year. They just weren't going to.
Yeah, I've listened to that Man United podcast that's on, and it's constant that they say, you arrived and there's Roy Keane and there was whoever else, it just makes it very easy for the coaching staff. So we were fortunate in that case. So 2011 came back. Kieran decided to just become technical director. I think was his title at that stage. So Kenny Armstrong and myself were here for 2011, 2012. So it's probably been spoken about before. That was the year that Wynnum was smashing us at Perry Park and the lights went out.
Ah, yeah. So, I was going to bring that up, actually.
Terry Hughes didn't play that game, did he?
We played Olympic in the Canale Cup the week before, and Terry Hughes got sent off.
Yeah.
And Ruben Way got sent off for hitting the card out of the ref's hands. So we played, I think, the last 60 minutes with 9 men in that game. We ended up beating them on penalties. Olympic could never win a trophy back then. Then, obviously, the week after was the grand final where two players were out and the lights go off. And immediately the lights go off. Kenny and I are thinking, I think they're available. Sam's starting to lose his marbles.
What was the score at the time?
They were 1-0 up. Cato rolled Nick Stafford in the box and scored. And I said to Nick, he'll only ever go on his right foot. Anyway, Cato goes round on his left and scores.
That game, I was there. I remember I was there at Perry Park, and lights go out, and everyone's sort of leaving the ground. I saw Terry Hughes, maybe with his partner or something.
Yeah.
He was like, he obviously had a few rums or whatever it was in his hand, but you could just tell he was over the moon. He knew, like, I'm back next week.
Yeah,
we can play this.
And I think we played Wynnum at Lions, and Smithy scored a great goal.
Yeah.
And we beat them 3-1, and that was when they had the big American defender that was
Big Hopkins.
Was on a different planet. And we were talking earlier about players coming over to the bench, and John Thompson, fantastic player, comes over and goes, Tim, I just cannot beat this guy in the air.
He scored about 10 or 12 goals that year, I think.
Pulo back post, Hopkins bang.
And then obviously back then they had the long throw, Reed who used to come up and chuck it in the box, and their style obviously was difficult to play against. You don't have to play curriculum all the time. They were a very difficult side to play against.
Yep.
So that was 2011, 2012. Then Olympic gave me a call, and I decided to go to Olympic. Probably took a few players from Rochedale, which didn't really leave them. There was a period there when I haven't spoke to Coops probably hardly since the day I left, to be honest. So, a lot of players came with me, something like 13. And we had a fairly good side at Olympic, chucked in with what they had already. They had some good players at Olympic, but, they just needed that winning culture, and they were always a bit soft in the belly, So
that was the first NPL year?
That was 2013 when Brisbane City had maybe 2 Americans, I think, which they were a pretty fair side. So that year, obviously, the grand final was at Olympic. We won the league by probably 7-8 points, can't remember. Played the grand final, won that. We were maybe 2-1 down with 2 minutes to go. Ended up, I think, coming back and then winning it on penalties. And I suppose fittingly that year, Danny Byrne scored the winning penalty to win the league. I'd been there for 10 years or something of that nature. So then the year after that was the first year of the FFA Cup, so we were fortunate to qualify for the 32 there. Palm Beach won the league there. They had Chris Lucas up front.
Yeah.
And we played in the grand final at their pitch, which was, to be honest, was disgusting. Again, still on YouTube, you can see it.
Watching that game, yeah.
Absolutely terrible. And I suppose the most disappointing thing was before the game, we went to the refs and said, you can't play. And they basically painted the mud green to make it look like grass. But Terry Hughes, obviously, he twisted his knee, did his ACL, PCL, MCL, all those L's, and really never played again. So, it wasn't the right thing to do. It wasn't the right thing for the last season. For the grand final. It was poorly done, to be honest. But good luck to Palm Beach on the day.
And after Olympic?
After Olympic, gave it away. Decided that I'd been involved for 20 years and just gave it away. Came back 2 years ago at Rochedale to coach their youth side. Some of those players playing at Rochedale, and I saw Kyle Bell made his debut yesterday. Giorgio Anastasi has played in the first team.
Games,
probably the player that may go on is boy Keegan Jelicic. It's at the Raw. That's at the Raw, and I think he's gone in full time. So
training with the first team at the minute.
He's training with the first team. So
he's good,
quality player. So that was the period, and it is difficult to come back and obviously coach the 18s. They weren't probably the best 18s in Queensland. So I decided to just give it away and move on. Just give it away, retire. That's it.
Yeah.
G'day everyone. Tom Carroll here from Total Compression. As you can tell by the stiffness of your nipples, the weather is a little bit chilly outside. If you fancy to get a hold of any of the Total Compression products, please visit www.totalcompression.com.au and use the coupon code TheSubsBench to receive 10% off any Total Compression product. Cheers, guys.
And so I think we touched upon it before we came on. Like, if I gave football away now, I'd have 3 nights, a weekend to fill the void. And
what do you do?
I've got a wife and kids, so it's, I've got plenty to do, but I'd miss it massively because, Christ, since I was 9-year-old, football's been, it's your weekend, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it difficult when you've kind of made that decision to come out to fill the void, or do you miss it? Do you not?
Well, I was a football fanatic, so I watched the 18s, the 20s, the first team. I watched the opposition games. It was what I did. I got up in the morning. I thought about it every day when I got up in the morning. It was my life. So look, I'll be honest, I found it to be fairly difficult because there is that big void 3 nights a week. You can't watch Neighbours, you can't watch Home and Away. So, you go to the gym. I've tried the gym. I find it to be unbelievably boring. I think what you miss is the players as well.
Lads,
the lads, the chat, taking the mickey, new players coming in, trying to mould a squad for that year and the year after. Kieran and I and Kenny used to, get together downstairs. Training was at 7. We'd get down there about 6:15, have a chat, take the mickey out of each other. Look, did we agree? No, we didn't. Nearly come to blows on occasions, but we were always, could move on. It's the chat is difficult. What do? You take up golf.
Yeah.
I don't think anything can replace that you know, that period, you got to. I know it sounds like an old cliche, but it's the best time of your life, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, and when you finish playing and you get into coaching, and you're coaching players that are decent players, and they do take the mickey out of each other. And look, over those years, has there been some characters? Obviously, talking about, you know, Matt Mundy and somebody who's a little bit left of centre on occasions. And, you know, obviously, you know, Olympic with the players at the Kazoo, and, you know, they're totally different cat, but just wonderful people. You know, you meet so many wonderful people everywhere you go in football. You just probably don't realise it when you're in the action, as you lot currently are.
Yeah. So I think it's a social thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the biggest part of it, really. At our level, definitely.
Yeah. And even I came down here, you were playing Western Pride, Rochedale, and they had the tent up behind. They had Phil Davis talking on the microphone. You know, there was a good crowd. It was a beautiful night. Went around, I had a chat to most of the people that still talk to me here, and you know, it was a really good social day. So, you know, for me, I'm trying and come down and watch a few games. Now that at this stage it's Mark Cruz and Wilsey, so you know, try and get involved somewhere along the line. The difficulty is for coaches of my age is that the badges that you have to do. Pretty much all of those coaches, the Bobby Hamilton, myself, Kenny Armstrong, Kieran Cooper, etc., are no longer involved. It is a young man's gig, and you'll find most of the NPL sides are coaches 35, 40. You know, to be honest, I was still playing at 36. These guys are coaching at 35. So good luck to them, but you know, it is.
What is your like opinion on the badges as such? Like, do you have like an opinion on, are they a good thing? Are they a bad thing? Like, do you think there should be some sort of like obviously you've had a very successful playing and coaching career. For someone like yourself to then be told, oh, you've got to go and do these curriculums, is that a bit insulting?
No, I don't find it at all. I used to go to all of the conferences that they had, every single one that they used to have to keep my points up through that period. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. You know, a lot of coaches that come through with their badges may not be good coaches. It's anybody. Well, not anybody can go get their badge because you can't. They've tightened it up a little bit these days. But to coach senior players, it's man management, how you handle them, when you give them a blast.
Learn that on course.
When you give them a blast. Do you come in at half time and say nothing, go...
Or who you give a blast to, who you
well
don't.
Played, lads, keep going. You know, are you 2-0 down and you don't come in the dressing room for 10 minutes because the players are going to sort it out. You know, Terry Hughes would start having a go, Matt Mundy would have a go again, Darren Gray would have a go to be a little bit testy. You let them sort it out yourself. You're not going to pick that up on a badge.
That's the thing.
That's experience.
Someone who will walk into a dressing room at that stage and start writing stuff on the board. It's like, it doesn't matter.
And look, I think what they do, all those coaches, they think it can always be won with tactics.
No.
You know, and Pep Guardiola's got that thing on whatever station it is these days. It's even him. It's, you know, the tactical genius. It's not all about tactics.
No.
It's about, you know, what can you give me? Can you give me that little bit more? You know, because as we know, the games are won in the last 10 minutes. The season's won in the last 6 games. So, there's been good coaches come through the badges, and I'm certain that there's some bad coaches that come through the badges. And look, my grandson plays. He's at Albany Creek. He's 6 years old. You know what you hear on the sideline is unbelievable. Some of the stuff from the parents and from the coaches. You know, the kids don't care; they just want to play. You know, so
it's
it's tough to watch. That's why I always said with my daughter, she plays, I'll refuse to coach. I'll just stand there and watch and support.
I just stand back and watch. I tell you, who coaches my kid. It's under 8s, but they've got a team full of 6-year-olds just playing a year up. Michael Baird. Is that coach? Beardy? And Beardy's really good with them. Really good. But I just stand back. I don't say a word.
Kids,
like,
let them play.
Just let them have fun. I applaud the other team. The other team score a goal or make a good tackle. Just clap them. Like, you know, they're only there to have a bit of fun.
That's it.
So, can I just ask, on that, when you said you made reference to walking around and the people who still speak to you, does that hurt a little bit that after what you've done for the club, one decision where you've gone and took players, one, does it hurt? 2, looking back, would you have took as many? Does it make a difference how many you took? Like,
look, the people are passionate about their club. They're entitled to their opinion. You know, when you get out of the game and you look in, you know, when you're playing, you've got that fight. When you're a coach or when you're playing, you've got that fight. You don't want to let anybody show that you're weak. You want to be on top all the time. Now, once you've got out of it and you look from the outside, you don't worry about it so much. If that's their opinion, then so be it. Look, the club gave me a lot. I gave them a lot. So it worked. But it works both ways. So it doesn't really worry me, to be honest. I speak to the people that I know. I enjoy coming here to watch games, and I know yourself. When you go back to Peninsula Power, Holland Park, hopefully the people will treat you well, and respect what you've done. You got to remember that you're not well paid in this job. No. It's not an easy gig being a coach. Everyone wants to criticise you.
It's a thankless task.
It's a thankless task. You know, you're giving 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, watching games on Saturday. You know, it's a fairly big job for the small amount of money that you get. So, I don't think we should criticise any other coach, to be honest, because
it's very much a tough task.
It's a tough task, and if you're at a club that doesn't have big funds, trying to get players is difficult. Our policy here was we tried to sign 3 of the best players every season. We're not going to sign 10 players. We're going to sign 3 of the best. So one year we might have got Tim Hughes, Tim Smits. The next was Terry Hughes, and then we got Willie Tumasimi. We got the best players here, so it continued the flow on for this club. And look, it's a little bit of luck as well, to be honest.
It's easier to attract players too when you've got such a strong squad that you had for all those years as well.
Of course.
Players want to come in and play with those groups of players. So.
Yeah, and I think when you become the club that, like Lions is or Peninsula now, where you phone them, you pretty much know they're going to sign because you are the club that everyone wants to play for. We were like that, and obviously Wynnum were like that. Peninsula, Gold Coast Knights, all of those. That's what they're like now. If they ring you up, I don't know, they've got some funds behind them. You really want to play with Mitch Nichols. You really want to play with, the best players in the competition. Yeah. And the kids should just go there and fight like hell. That's the next problem is the kids that just want it too easy. They stay for 3 weeks and then decide they come to me, I'm going to go to another club because you're not giving me a run. Well, stay and fight for your spot.
That doesn't happen anymore.
Or because another club's offered them a bit of cash.
Yeah, a little bit of cash. And I'd said to my players, if you want to go and play for a crap club, leave and go and play for a crap club. We don't have a problem with that. Go and play for Murundu. Is that a crap club? Probably insulted them. Yeah. That's up to you. Reece Hastings was here, fantastic player. He left, he went to Mount Gravatt, he won the medal, and then he came back. So at that point for him, it was the best thing to do. Sometimes it's the best thing to move. Sometimes it's the best thing to stay. But, as a young player coming through, 17, 18, don't expect it's going to be given to you on a platter, and nor should it be. No.
Yeah. There's a difference between saying, I'm going to go and get some first-team experience for a year and come back and have another go at it, and saying, not for me, they're not giving me
a help with Prime and just saying, fuck it, I don't want to be there anymore.
That thing on players following coaches, it always sort of does my head in a bit when people complain about it, because you're talking about adults who make their own decision about where they go and what they do.
Yep.
So if people are going to go, it's generally because they like the guy that's going and they want to play for him. It's not a case of, hey, he's been onto all of our players trying to get them.
And remembering that it was the first year of the NPL as well. Olympic obviously are a big club and have been a big club for a long period of time. The chance to go and play in Rockhampton, Townsville, Cairns was obviously attractive. The first game of the NPL was at Brisbane City on a Friday night, I think it was. Big crowd. I think we won 5-2 or something like that. Maybe Smitsy scored a couple that day as well. So it was an attraction, and Rochedale at that time decided that it wasn't the right thing to do financially for them. The club had been broke, the year before, a couple of years before. So the players, it was a time for them to move. Rochedale might not agree, and obviously Kieran might not agree, and they decided not to go into the NPL, which looking back, was it the right call? I'm not so certain, but they just didn't have the funds, And now it's panned out that the best sides have it's the NPL of all the best sides are in the NPL. Maybe in the next 2 years it'll be even stronger. It'll sort itself out a little bit stronger. Plus the facilities, you know, you look at the facilities in Queensland, certainly New South Wales, with all of the artificial grass everywhere, and obviously Peninsula, Redlands, you know, it is now a great league with good facilities and good players. Isn't that what we're after?
Yeah,
I think so. But what we'll do, we'll finish off when we get coaches on. It's always good to pick your 11, and I know that it's difficult because you feel like a twat leaving people out, and especially some of the players you'd have coached. But if we can just work through, so goalkeeper.
It was pretty easy, obviously, because Mario was here for such a long period of time. So Mario played for Australia under 17s, went to the World Cup. Smaller keeper, but fantastic shot stopper, fantastic distributor.
Yeah.
Has turned into a really good goalkeeper coach. So clearly him, yeah.
Back four?
Back four, right back, Kevin Evans, who was here not for very long, 2007, maybe a little bit of 2008, and now is at the Raw. Was a Welsh international, under 20s, I think. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He used to call his right foot the wand, you know, just give it to me. And he could pass, he could play. You know, he was fantastic in the air. He knew more people at this club in 2 weeks than I knew when I was here 10 years. He was such a lovely guy. So right back, Kevin Evans. Central defenders, probably Matt Mundy and Willie. Both came through the Raw system. Willie couldn't pass, but could not get past him one-on-one. Left back, probably John Thompson. He was a centre back playing left back, tough, good in the air. Came from Bundaberg, a little bit nasty. That leaves Darren Gray out as well. So there's a few players as well.
You can pick a bench. We'll let you.
You can pick a bench. No, I'll probably pick Darren Gray in midfield with Terry Hughes, and it's between Taro and Taro Urabi. He was here for the Old People's game the other week and could probably still play in the FQPL. He was that good.
Get him in.
We won't say no.
He's good. Maybe Jake McLean as a 10 as well. So Jake McLean was at Olympic and here. Fantastic player. Rolls the ball in between defenders. You know, has used the same turn for 10 years.
Fucking I saw it about 5 times last night against strikers. Outside
the right foot roll, just goes round again. You know, came through with James Donachie at the same time at Rochedale. So there, the front three is probably a little bit easier. As obviously Smits, Carl Tabulo. Carl Tabulo was a footballer. You have not seen a player with more natural ability. The Raw wanted him, Gold Coast United wanted him, but he was a tad lazy, but ball striking, free kicks, you know, could kick people as well, you know, on occasions. On the left, between two, Cody Lovell and Greg Thomas. Greg Thomas was here. Also had him at Capalaba, quite a strong character. Scored goals, come inside for a left-sided player, moved on to Lions and ended up being a 5, as a 6. Good player. You know, so that probably covers off me.
It's pretty strong.
Covers off me 11.
It's a good side.
A lot of medals in that lot. Like
there's a few medals. I think Cody Lovell's got about 7. I think Nathan Reardon may have knocked him off now. To be honest.
Yeah.
It's funny, like what you say about Tabulo being a bit lazy. I remember like when I was coming through, when I first come to Brisbane, this was when Rochedale were.
Yeah.
And he was just plonked on the right, and I saw somewhere, it might have been like a Facebook post or maybe the old Taringa forum or something, and someone was proper laying into him, having a go, saying he does no work, he doesn't track back, he does this. And someone from Rochedale's problem said, that's our Tabs.
Well, fullback used to push on, and you know the bench would go, you know, push on, and we'd go, push on, mate, go on, because we'll just get the ball, smack it to Tabs, and he'll whip a ball in, and he'll be away.
Why change
we didn't want him to defend because we were happy enough to leave 2 up, which was Tabs on the right. And a lot of the time we used to leave the player on the far side of the pitch up, so we could, if we ever got the ball and we wanted an out, we could play the guy in behind. Where these sides these days, they want to play, this third to this third to this third. If it's on, just play it. Look, Cody was pretty slippery, to be honest.
It's not like people bang on about, they play long. Well, it's not long ball if it's a directed pass. It's a pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people say, it's anti-football, smacking it up the park. Yeah. that's a smart outlet. Like that's a smart ball. It's not long ball. It's like
if you win playing that way.
I remember one year we played, strikers were in the QPL, and we were in the BPL, and we played them in the silver boot, and it was a big deal. They were the top side in that comp, we were the top side in this comp. Big rivalry. So we go to Lions, it was a silver boot game, and Carl scores 2 in the first 5 minutes, maybe a free kick or something. And Chris Mark comes over to the bench and he goes, he doesn't run. And I said to him, mate, he doesn't need to run. You know, he just stands on the line. We ended up beating them 7-0, just one of those days when we were unbelievable. But, you know, if his strength is not defending, which it wasn't, you know, you just, I mean, you know.
Why bother?
Why bother? You know, so, you know, some good players. Obviously, we had a few younger players that came through and didn't continue on. Obviously, Moses Patella, we spoke about a little bit before. The Capalaba kids that were just unbelievable. I remember we played Redlands at Capalaba. We beat them 5-0. They had Scotty Bowe playing left back, and Moses just absolutely tore him up because he was that fast. So, you know, there's been some good, and luckily here as well, we had Luke Bratton come through. Obviously, James Donachie came through. Luke Bratton played in our reserves for maybe a year and a half. You've never seen anybody pass the ball like him. But you'd come here when he was 12, and he'd be here with his brothers smacking the ball across the pitch, and you know, it's beauty for him was he was always playing football, and he's gone on to be one of the best players in the A-League. So, you know,
no, he's done well. Look, it's been a great chat. That enjoyed it.
Sorry if I talked too much.
No, it's been good.
It's been good.
Okay,
That's what we're here for.
A lot of content out of that. I wouldn't mind putting your team up against maybe Mooney's team. And get some kind of poll going because there's 2 good sides there.
I can't remember Mooney's, but
one's 10 years ago, one's last 5 years.
But before us were Lions was such a strong side. I remember them playing them here. We were bottom of the league at that stage, Rochedale. Their bench was Moon, Greg DeLosa. You know, they had Reece Tollan there. They had 2 sides. You know, they were that strong, and luckily we managed to sign a few of those players. But like I say, it comes in cycles, comes in waves, and you know, when you look back at the sides that were strong, some of the sides that were strong, you know, North Star, now they're in, I don't even know what division they're in, you know, Mount Gravatt,
lower tier,
lower tier,
so
community club,
you know, to stay at the top is not easy, and thanks for having me.
No, it's been
Thanks
good.
for coming.
Enjoy it.
Make sure you get down to a few games.
Not many left this year, but
well,
that's a big
I want to come and watch Cruiser and Wilsey. I think we play next Friday night, is it?
Friday night, against South.
Push your own game, if you don't mind, against South.
Yeah.
Who are battling. And look, one of the things as well, just on another side, they've got to get relegation back into all the divisions. You know, and promotion.
That's coming.
I think that's coming next year.
It's just ridiculous, to be honest. Sides way off the pace.
The current QPL models just...
And it's the same in the A-League, though, so...
Yeah, it is. It's...
Anyhow.
We could talk for another hour and a half about that, couldn't we?
Well, we'll be back probably in about a week's time. I mean, we're not moving anywhere. We've got another guest in, but you'll see the next episode in about a week's time.
We'll just be wearing the same clothes next
And,
week.
enjoyable chat that.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thanks, Brian.
Cheers.